Kimbap, Sushi's chill and laid-back younger sibling. And today I'm going to show you my favorite way of doing it. If you like this video, give it a like and consider subscribing. I release new episodes every Wednesday. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to make is bulgogi using this ribeye. Bulgogi being marinated in grilled or barbecued beef. And I'm just going to cut off all of the excess fat and silver skin. Don't worry about any expert butchering here, just make sure you're left with mostly cleaned and tender beef. Then I'm just going to slice them into nice thin strips. When prepping anything for kimbap, just be mindful that it needs to be thin and long so it can be more easily rolled. You also want to be mindful that raw beef is one of life's simplest pleasures. Toss all that delicious beef into a small bowl and combine it with soy sauce, rice vinegar, mirin, sweet Japanese cooking wine, kosher salt, freshly cracked black pepper, and some gochugaru, Korean hot pepper flakes. Give it a good mix and allow it to marinate in the fridge for at least 20 minutes. Using a tender cut of beef will definitely cut down on the waiting time. Aside from the bulgogi, the only thing that will take a bit of time is the rice, or the bap in kimbap. I'm just rinsing it in cold water a few times until the water runs mostly clear, then adding enough water until it just hits the top of my first knuckle when I touch the rice. Season with a generous pinch of kosher salt, because I mean, we're not animals here. Then transfer to the stove and bring to a boil on high heat. Cover and simmer on low for 10 minutes before shutting it off. Since I love eggs, I'm gonna make an omelette using these freakishly small eggs. You don't need to whisk this until it's light and fluffy, just roughly beat it up. And yes, I do use chopsticks a lot when I cook because they're honestly one of the most multifunctional tools you can have in a kitchen. Season with a pinch of kosher salt and a splash of mirin. Set your nicest nonstick pan on medium-low heat with just a touch of cooking oil and add the egg mixture. I'm using low heat because I don't really want any color or have it cooked all the way through. Using a spatula, carefully pull the omelette away from the sides and start to roll it. If you tip the pan on an angle, gravity will help make it easier. Transfer to an adorable little cutting board and thinly slice. Now, bulgogi is traditionally grilled or barbecued, but since we need them nice and thin, and that would be a little tricky, I decided to stir fry them. Plus, I was feeling lazy, so here we are. They're only gonna need a few minutes, or until most of the excess marinade has formed a coating on the outside. If you're a regular viewer, you know that I pretty much have a pickle something in every episode, and of course today will be no different. I'm using half of an English cucumber and removing the core. Slice the cucumber up until it's roughly the same size and shape as the omelette and the beef. Transfer the cucumber to a small bowl along with some sugar, a few pinches of kosher salt, and some rice vinegar. Mix until the salt and sugar have dissolved and set aside. Or better yet, eat some, then set it aside. By now, the rice should be finished steaming. The biggest difference between sushi and kimbap is the way the rice is seasoned. Sushi generally has a bit of rice vinegar added, while kimbap is usually finished with sesame oil and sugar. But since I believe in coming together in harmony, I'm doing all three, along with some kosher salt. Allow the seasoned rice to cool in the fridge, or in a Canadian cooler, #Canadian cooler. The last thing I'm going to prep is some Spam. If you want to learn how to make some at home, click the card at the top or the link in the description. The homemade kind is a million times better. I'm just slicing it into 2 1/4-inch pieces. Heat a pan on medium-high heat and add a fair amount of canola or a neutral cooking oil. Add the Spam and cook until nice and crispy on both sides. Then transfer to a cutting board and thinly slice. It's probably best to do this while there's literally steam pouring off of them and you burn your fingers. Now that we're all prepped up, there's 3 things we need to go over. The first being Kewpie or Japanese mayo. If you've never had Kewpie Mayo, you're missing out. It's essentially just a regular mayo, but with sugar and dashi added to it, which in turn makes it a squeeze bottle full of umami gold. The second thing is nori, or toasted seaweed. If you can't find one that's toasted or roasted, you can just throw a sheet into a dry pan on medium heat for a few seconds. You'll notice there's a matte side and a shiny side. This helps you know which side to add your rice to. The third thing is a bamboo rolling mat. Can you make kimbap without one? Absolutely. Is it easier with one? Absolutely. Place the bamboo mat in front of you and arrange all of the ingredients around you so that everything is in reach. This is what we refer to in restaurants as mise en place. You'll also need a small bowl of water. Lay a piece of nori, shiny side down, on top of the bamboo mat. Apply some water to your hand. This will stop the rice from sticking. Grab a small handful and spread it out on the nori, leaving a gap at the top. Don't go too crazy with the rice either, you just want a thin layer. For the first one, I'm adding Kewpie Mayo, Bulgogi, and Pickles. Make sure to place your fillings in the center of the rice. Take the mat, and while tucking the fillings in, roll it over until both ends of the rice touch. Then gently pull back on the top of the mat and give it a firm squeeze. Pull the mat outwards, slightly rolling the kimbap, then pull back on the mat, tucking it under and giving it a firm squeeze. Repeat this until the kimbap is fully rolled and sealed. If the edge of the nori doesn't completely stick together, just seal it with a dab of water. Brush the outside of the kimbap with sesame oil and sprinkle some toasted sesame seeds on top. Then using a very sharp knife, slice it in 6 to 8 pieces. This is my favorite combination for kimbap because it pretty much tastes like a burger, and that's pretty awesome. For the next one, I'm doing my second favorite combination of Spam, egg, and of course, kimchi. If you've never made sushi or kimbap before, it'll probably take a few tries to really get the rolling technique down, so don't stress out, just have fun with it, and in no time you'll be rolling with the best of them. Be creative with your fillings too, there are no rules here, so let me know down in the comments what you'd put in your kimbap. Thanks for watching, and Happy New Year!